I just want to ask you real quick. I only have one question, but I just want to ask you, when you see the reception that Jenna Bishop got tonight, Liz Carmouche got tonight, AJ McKee got tonight, does that make you think, hey, maybe we should do some more events here on the West Coast? And then also San Diego's always been so good every time I've ever came here, and I feel like those West Coast fighters always get a great reception here. So maybe even headline more cards with them on the West Coast.
Yeah, look, tonight was a great night for us. First of all, I think every fight delivered. I mean, every fight there was a stoppage except for one. But I was really excited to come to San Diego. It's such a great sports town. This is such a busy sports week this week between the World Cup and I think there was a baseball game in town. But the people showed up tonight, and I'll tell you, that was a rowdy crowd, and there was an amazing reception for the hometown heroes, like you said, AJ and Jenna. And Liz Carmouche got an amazing and well-deserved reception as well, also being hometown. I love to bring events to venues and to cities where we can put hometown fighters there, whether that was Castelo Van Steenis when we were in Madrid, Spain, Dalton Roston when we were in Pittsburgh. We're going to have Brian Battle in Charlotte later this summer. Where we can do that, where it makes sense, I think it just amplifies the connection between the fans and the fighters. So I'd definitely love to come back here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, I'm not sure if tonight was supposed to be the hard launch of the Summer Series, but you did pack out the Pechanga Arena tonight. I know obviously the Summer Series starts for real in about 5 weeks, but tonight was a great entry-level kind of event to lead that on, if you ask me. Would you say the same?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, technically it starts at the next event, but it starts now. And we've got 8 weeks, beginning with tonight, and we have 6 events in those 8 weeks and 4 championships. And this is the type, a night like tonight is how I envision, I want PFL to be going forward. And we want to stay busy, we need to stay busy. The world is a big place, so we're going to be canvassing the United States this summer. We'll be back out of the U.S. in part in the fall, but we'll probably do another couple of events in the U.S. But this is, these type of fights you see at the head of the card. Well, Liz Carmouche is always incredibly effective, had a really convincing win. But AJ McKee and Isbalayev, I mean, Isbalayev's never been taken to the end of the second round. And he came out, those guys just started banging. But AJ, I don't think he has any weakness in his game. He could stand up, but he showed elite wrestling tonight. And look, I'm going to say it, I think he may be the best featherweight in the world.
You just mentioned it yourself, but there were only 2 decisions tonight on the whole entire card. The rest were finishes. You've also been bringing in a lot of new talent. So I guess what's the conversation between you and your matchmakers like in terms of aggressively finding new talent, but also putting together bangers of fights that end up with a card with only 2 decisions?
It's a balance. You got to, you'd always like to try to construct cards that deliver like this. It doesn't always work out that way, right? But this is a perfect example where if you watch the undercard, those were incredibly exciting fights. And there were some folks on the undercard that I think have a really bright future. Colby Fierce to start off the night, that was an impressive first round victory. And then Magomed Sharapov, also incredible, exciting. Jenna Bishop was amazing and showed elite jiu-jitsu. But when you're managing a fighter roster and you're putting on more than 24 events a year, it's an ecosystem. And so we really have made an effort over the last few months to sign almost 20 new fighters. There's some really, really interesting names in that group. Yeah. And I can't wait to showcase them on future cards.
Now, Kobe Fair is a prime example of one of those newer guys to the roster who came in tonight, first round finish, like you said, got him out of there pretty quickly. What was your kind of takeaways from his performance, the way he handled himself in his first ever PFL fight week?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, he came out and for the first 3 seconds was on his opponent. And I even liked his personality at the end of the fight. I mean, he had a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. I mean, that becomes almost magnetic. But that was an impressive outing for him.
And last for me, I'm not sure if it's come across your maybe phone or information system yet, but Brian Battle and Dalton Rasta got into it backstage. It looked like after all these fights ended up By the look on your face, you have it. Okay.
No, I didn't hear that.
It was a back stage kind of scuffle. I have to say, it looked like it was pretty clean, like something to build onto the fight. Just to me, no punches were thrown or anything, maybe a push, but what are your thoughts on something like that, and maybe ultimately the fight that we're all in for in a couple weeks between them two?
Well, I'll find out what happened. On the one hand, we don't want craziness that's going to be very disruptive to the event. But on the other hand, you put these guys together. We knew having these fighters here this week together was a bit of a risk on our part. And I like to see the competitive enthusiasm. And I know those two guys are both really looking forward to it. They were shit-talking each other for the last few days. That fight, that Charlotte, we'll be making more announcements for who else is on the Charlotte card. But Battle and Rasta, they're both coming off of losses. And they know another loss is going to be really, really hurtful. But whoever wins is right back in the conversation to be at the top of what's a pretty stacked middleweight division. So I'll find out what happened, but these guys are incredibly competitive and they're going to bring it.
Thank you. Wasn't too crazy.
All right, good.
Hey, John, MMA Locker Room here, part of Puff Sports Radio. How does it feel to put out a star-studded event like that, and what do you leave on your excitement level?
I didn't hear the last one.
What do you leave? Where is your excitement level leaving the arena? Your excitement.
Tonight?
Yes.
Can you tell I'm excited? I think this was a great card. Every fight was entertaining, and if every card this summer is like this, I'll be thrilled beyond imagination because they're exciting fights, but they're also really technical fights. And Shabley versus Alfie Davis. That probably didn't have as much action as some of the others, but it was a very technical fight. And I think, listening to the crowd during the main card, I think they were entertained. And that's what we want to do. We want to fight best person to best. We want to entertain fans. And we want to get, every time we want to come out to places like San Diego, we want more and more people in the arena. And I'm also thrilled, like we were in Pittsburgh earlier this year, we've had so many incoming inquiries about going back from fans, from the local, from the arena. That is an indication that what we're doing is we're on the right track, so more of that.
Got it, and last one for me. It seems like all the new signings that you guys are doing, you guys are emphasizing on a lot of the LFA fighters. A lot of the MMA community is loving that right now. How do you feel that the LFA fighters are going to come over here and branch out and build with the PFL?
Yeah, that's fine. They're very, I think they're a great organization, and I think we're looking at them like we're looking at everybody else. We're getting fighters from all over the place. I think I don't know how many countries are represented in the new signings, but I think it's over a dozen. Well, the new signings are 20, but it's like 14, 15 countries represented. So we're looking all over the world.
Doing a great job.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
John, congratulations on a great event tonight.
Thank you.
How does Summer Series amplify your long-term vision for this company?
Well, this is it. This is an example, right? When I decided shortly after I showed up, we weren't going to do the World Tournament in the United States anymore, and we were going to reestablish championship fights and champions, weight classes. Then we introduced rankings. It's a traditional system now. It's taken us a while to be able to name champions, right? And I think it's only going to get more and more fun. I think we've got 3 vacant belts now. They have 4. I think it's 3. But every card, maybe we won't be able to do every card, but I'd like almost every event with championship fights or real championship implications, even like tonight. That's what I want to do to delight the fans. And I watch a lot of MMA organizations. I think our fights are as exciting as everybody else's. So it's up to me to try to amplify the brand, because the PFL brand is still not as well known as it should be, but we're trying really hard.
And I think we all know your sports media background, but I don't think you get enough credit for being a true MMA fan. You talked about storytelling earlier this week. Tonight, I think we saw a lot of fighters tell their own stories by their technique. You mentioned AJ McKee. Is that something you feel also helps that when they can tell their stories inside the cage, that you guys as a company can push them even further?
Absolutely. And seeing the press conference that we had earlier this week, where we had so many fighters here represented, I've heard from many of them that they're thrilled to be here. Look, they want to grow their own career. They want to have, they want to be on a platform where they can achieve their dream, which is a championship. And I want to help provide them with a vehicle to do that. So like you said, the more that we can start to see styles and identify with the fighters, and then, you know, the more that I get to know the fighters, they all have very unique backgrounds, they all have different stories, and we're going to work hard to get people to really get to know them better.
I'm excited with this one. From a technical standpoint, is there one fight on your Summer Series schedule that makes, I mean, from an entertainment, Dalton Ross and Brian Battle, you could sell that, right? But from a technical standpoint, is there one that you are really looking forward to?
I can't pick just one. I mean, look, Edlin in Pittsburgh put on a show, beating Brian Battle. And then IPA, of course, that was, I think Rasta called it a coin flip. They were in there banging so hard, you knew that when one of them connected, the other one was going to go down. But if you look, we've got Usman Nurmagomedov coming to Long Island on late July 31st. Usman's 21-0 and is walking around with the confidence and the aura of a true champ. But he's fighting Archie Kogan, who is also 13-0 and has never lost and doesn't really have any weakness in his game. So you're going to have, between the two of them, 34 wins and no losses in the cage. And Usman is also, everybody knows, he can strike, he can wrestle, he can submit, he doesn't have weakness either. So that's a fight that I'm already like so excited about. I'm excited to welcome Dakota back into the cage, and of course, really, really excited for Tampa with Chris Cyborg coming back, and we hope to be able to celebrate her career in the manner in which she deserves. And we've got a very difficult opponent for her, Ketlin Vieira, who's going to be making her PFL debut. So excited for that too. I'm excited. I think these are, you know, I came here a year ago because I believe that the quality of the fighters is much better than even hardcore MMA fans really gave the promotion credit for. So now we just got to showcase it, and we got to keep doing it, and we hope that the fans react to it and reward the promotion for it. Thanks.
Obviously, the walkout from AJ tonight was something special. I mean, but like, this is something that you don't necessarily see, like particularly in the UFC. That would be one criticism, like they just kind of walk straight to the octagon, nothing really happens. Is that something that you kind of want to focus on? Is making these things really memorable and giving, you know, moments outside of this fight?
Yeah, I love the walkout tonight. And by the way, this is the first time I think we've done it with live music in the U.S., but we've had two other events this year, one in Belfast and one in Brussels. We had a saxophonist in Brussels and a folk singer in Belfast. You know, I can remember countless events where I'd watch the UFC and I'd have goosebumps watching the walkouts and listening to the walkouts, because this is all part of the sport. You know, you're seeing the fighters, you're seeing how they look, you're seeing whether they're anxious, they're happy, they're excited, they're confident, and with the music that connects with them. And it builds to the drama. And I remember being in Vegas at UFC events, and by the time the cage just closes and the two fighters are standing there, man, you are so pumped up, because the fight is only part of the experience. So I love tonight. You know, it's hard when you're on broadcast TV with ESPN because they have tight schedules, so you can't have these extraordinarily long walkouts. But I'd love to bring more entertainment value to the events, and we'll try to do it where we can and where it makes sense.
Who in the world is AJ fighting? Like, what's the fight? Are you guys going to have to look outside for someone? Or
No. I think, look, Imam Timur is coming back after he had a devastating injury, and he's coming back and fighting later. And if he wins, you know, he was a tournament champion and had, I think, the rightful path to a championship fight, but he got disrupted because of the injury that he had. So I'm going to be looking at that fight very, very carefully to see maybe that's one we matchmake. But you also have our featherweight division is pretty deep. And you've got Jesus Pineda coming back. You know, he's coming off a loss from Isbalayev, but he's an incredible previous champion. And so there's a lot of good names in featherweight right now.
Just curious, because Liz Carmouche obviously positioned herself well for a flyweight title shot, but ultimately called for a bantamweight division to be in stage. What's the temperature on PFL?
Yeah, I was less interested in her asking for more weight classes, and I would have liked to have seen her demonstrate to me and everybody else that she wants the belt. When AJ won, what did he do? He's like, I want the belt. So Liz has got to demonstrate she wants the belt, because you know who else demonstrated tonight she wants the belt? Jenna Bishop. And so Liz certainly put on a great fight tonight. Jenna did too. But I'm focused on, I want, Liz or Jenna to be looking at the winner of Dakota and Denise and get that done short order.
Speaking to that multiple division kind of fixation, it's like Alexander Shockley had a great way when he was talking to us a bit ago. He was saying you either like the order of the who's possible to fight next, or potentially to fight AJ McKee for the featherweight title. Like, what's your temperature on either of those things?
I think we'd have to look at both of them. I mean, Shockley had a really strong win today. It wasn't terribly convincing, so I think we'll take a look at it. But he had a good win tonight.
I think it's lastly for me, there's certain Canadians on the roster like Shane Clark, for instance, tonight, and Andrew Jeffrey within the stack of the weight division that is often touted for PFL. Like, what have we got to do to get PFL signed back to the woods in Canada? For that?
I want to come to Canada. We're going to be looking very seriously in 2027.
Anything else, guys?
Where location-wise are you looking at in Canada? I the lay of the land in that regard.
Not in any level of specificity yet. I mean, we still have a couple of open dates the back half of this year that we're making final decisions as to that location. But I just think, there's a few places that I would like us to go. I'd like us to go to Australia. I would love for us to go to Brazil at some point in the relative near future. Mexico has outreached us. Russia has outreached us. In various countries in and around there, some of the stands. But I think it makes sense for this promotion to go to Canada. I have mentioned it to several people. I think, first of all, it's our neighbor, and very, very, it's a great MMA country. There's a lot of really hardcore fans there, and there's some great fighters there, as you mentioned. So,
Next question.
John, just one quick one, last one over here. Is there a sweet spot for you in terms of how many fights you like to have on all these cards? Because we've seen more, we've seen less. Like, what do you think is the sweet spot, if there even is one?
well, I mean, I'd like over time to find out from you all. I mean, we've had 12 fights on a card. We've had 9.
Right.
I love MMA, so I don't mind coming here and sitting for hours. But I think 10-ish is probably the right amount. And you can see people come in late, but it's different. I used to go to Vegas all the time to watch big boxing fights, and nobody sat in their seats until the main event. MMA fans come, and they come early, and they enjoy the show. So I don't know. We have been talking about that. I'm talking about some other potential things that we may shake up a little bit in terms of rules in PFL, but nothing to announce right now.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Enjoy the rest of the night.